First of all, I can't believe I'm here tonight because the two things I hate most, public speaking and politics. And I find myself here talking on this subject of democracy is broken in our nation. Obviously, something I feel strongly about. And how many people in this room actually feel that politics are broken in this nation? Vast majority of you. And you're not the only people to think this. I was watching a TED talk the other day. A guy called Rory Stewart, he's a Tory MP. He's also the chair of the Treasury, so the Defence Select Committee. So pretty serious. And he actually said that 86% of people in Britain think British politics are broken, which I find absolutely amazing, considering they're really not talking about what it is that needs to be fixed. And, you know, I'm always somebody that looks for solutions, so I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert tonight, because I'm certainly not. But I'm going to just try and address a few areas. First of all, a funny quote, I think, really from Gandhi. He was asked by a journalist what he thought of Western democracy, and he said it was a great idea. And I think that's really where we are today. So what is democracy? Somebody might joke that it's where two idiots can outvote a genius. But it's really where a government gets elected by the electorate, and they're there to serve their will, and everybody gets a fair vote. Now, I think the important part of this sentence is that politicians are meant to serve their will. I think politicians think it the other way around. They think the electorate should be there to serve them. There's really an engagement problem here. And I kind of look back and I look at my ancestors and my family, and I think, you know, a generation ago there wasn't really any talk about politics being broken. Everybody was quite content with what was going on. Certainly my family weren't big politics fans, but they were pretty happy with the status quo. But this has really changed. We're all disillusioned. We all feel out of touch. So what's changed? Well, first of all, I think England has changed and Britain has changed massively. We're much more diverse. We have a much more diverse media. And one of the biggest changes, which is quite hard to talk about, is Tony Blair and New Labour. They really changed the game in politics. What did they do? Well, I think one of the terms when you think of New Labour was spin. You know, what is spin? To me, spin is deception. And it's really something I believe that still goes on today. But the problem for the politicians is that we don't use a select group of media. They can't control what's actually being said at the moment. So, really they've got to address this problem, otherwise people are going to keep on getting disillusioned and there's going to be some big problems. You know, I've got to profess I am a fan of democracy. It just needs to modernize. I mean, democracy's been going for 400 years, and we're still there. We're still doing the same things that happened 400 years ago. So, what is it that we can do? As I say, I'm definitely no expert, but I've just thought of a few things that I think could really make a difference. And first of all, we live in a digital world. So, in this digital world, there's so much we can do. You've just got to look at some of what some of the newspapers are doing. I'm definitely not a male reader, just to let you know, but actually what they're doing and their technology platform is quite amazing. It's quite simple actually when you look at it. You basically have the article, people post their comments, there's a like and a dislike button. Okay, that's pretty good, so you can actually see who's liking what and who's disliking what. But what they do that's quite clever is they actually start reporting statistics on what are the most liked comments, which articles are getting the most reaction, which are the most disliked, and so forth. So basically what they're getting is a consensus of what's going on. Unfortunately, it's the consensus of male readers, no offense. But, can you imagine if party politics, they actually did this? They really engaged with their electorate. They actually really wanted to find out what we thought and what we wanted. The second thing I think that I feel quite strongly about is I want to take away the donating to political parties by individuals, corporations. At the end of the day, if we're here in a democracy and they're there to serve the electorate, in my view, it's the electorate that should pay for the political parties. That way, obviously, we take away the middleman that actually has a closer ear and is closer to the politicians that matter, that can really make a difference. So it's quite a simple change. Obviously, people are saying, no, that's impossible, that can't be done. Of course it can be done. So that's just another little change I think should happen. Thirdly, the third thing I've really been thinking about, and so many other people think about as well, it's also a hugely difficult topic because it really is that inconvenient truth. And the inconvenient truth is elitism is rife in our politics. I'm going to actually take something out of my pocket because these are some quotes. The first one is from Sir John Major, obviously our former Prime Minister and a Tory Prime Minister. In every single sphere of British influence, the upper echelons of power in 2013 are held overwhelmingly by the privately educated and the affluent middle classes. So that's his quote. Then I thought I'd look at Nick Clegg. I know he's a bit of a joke, but I have more liberal views. Our society is still too closed. It's too static. A society that says where you are born and who you are born to matters for the rest of your life. Now, there are statements there. There actually was a study last week that was done by the Social Mobility Commission, Social Mobility and Child Poverty Commission. It's chaired by Alan Milburn, who's a former cabinet minister and Labour MP. And what this study looks at is the background of the people that are running our society. And the results are really stark. I mean, they do look at the main assumption they use, which I think is a fair assumption, is that people that go to private school come from wealthy backgrounds. So this is how they've looked to figure this out. And 7% of us in this country go to private schools. I've got nothing against private schools, but when you look at the top jobs in society, what you have, over 50% representation from these people. And when you look at certain areas, like the judicial system, senior judges, we're really looking and getting up to 79% of people in those positions are from public school. So again, I've got nothing against private education and what have you. And in fact, I was talking to a friend of mine not so long ago, and I was telling her what I was talking about. And she actually said, I have a private education, I've got no problem with that. In fact, everybody that goes to private education, get a better education, they should get the better jobs. The thing she didn't realise there's probably 3 reasons, even though she's very capable, there's probably 3 reasons why she wouldn't make it to those areas of top positions within our country. First of all, she's a woman. That really doesn't help. Secondly, she comes from an ethnic background, but actually probably not ethnic enough. And thirdly, if she has money, it's probably new money, it's not old money. So the point is, it's the elitism that's the problem, and we all know it's there. So I just want you to think about that a little bit. The report concluded actually that there's so much elitism embedded in our society that it could actually be called social engineering. It's not a problem, I don't think it's a problem that can't be resolved in time very easily, but I think it's important that people confront this and actually start saying that the people with the best ability get through and not the people that are there through privilege. So I just want you to say, just want you to think about that this true democracy is around the corner. It is something that we can all strive for. Thank you very much. Okay.